Hello and welcome to Faith, Friends, and Leadership. Today we're hanging out with a great friend of mine, BJ Price, retail management veteran, co-founder of Skate Ohio. BJ's journey is a masterclass in divine timing. After walking away from a massive personal dream in his 20s, he prayed a simple prayer in his basement. Years later, that completely flipped his mindset and launched a high impact nonprofit. Today, we're talking about what it looks like to lead from the middle, how to build a family friendly culture in a secular space, and how Skate Ohio is using the thing they love to give the next generation an unshakable confidence. BJ, welcome to the show.
Unshakable confidence, dude. My dude's got good introductions. I like it. I'm happy to be here now. Let's freaking go. I'm in.
I'm all set. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and the listeners.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm BJ Price. I am the co-founder of Skate Ohio. I am a father of three boys, married for 20 years. And yeah, I absolutely love skateboarding. I love the idea of uh, I was a retail management for so long that I love being able to lead people and I love the idea of the human condition and just being able to connect with people and figuring out, oh, okay, so this is the best way that you can be led to better wherever we're at, the company we're working for. This is how we can do things and how we can work well together. So I love all those things. I also love movies, comedies. I'm a big metalhead. I love heavy metal. As Zach knows, we talk about punk and stuff all the time.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
is awesome. Also, I should state, working at the church, we both attend Crossroads and work there together. What's your favorite heavy metal band?
Favorite heavy metal band right now. There's one that I actually, the next time I get to do a devotion at church, I was actually working on it today. It's just been a passion project of mine. There's a band called Wage War that I love. They have a song called Low that I am convinced is the best praise song that has ever existed. Not written that way, but these things didn't exist, even the rocks would cry out. And that is just the idea that kind of like propelled me into this idea of this devotion of, dude, heavy metal can be this glorious song to the Lord. And there's just a song called Low by Wage War that I absolutely love. And that one's so good. There's also a band, Silence Speaks is another fantastic song. So there's certain songs that speak to me. Best favorite band, like since I was a kid, loved Local H, which is like a 90s rock band that I've seen probably the most. But recently I got to take my son to see Hot Mulligan. Was a fantastic experience. They're kind of more of a rock hardcore band, but it was just I love those environments. I love interacting with those people. I really think that there's no more passion than in those crowds.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing and for giving our listeners a couple bands they can go reach out to, listen to.
Some good music
Yeah.
videos, good fun.
Well, today I wanted to open up with and get us started because there was a journey, a shift in vision. And so kick us off. You're back in your 20s when you walked away for the dream of really opening your own skate park you and I talked about. And because of the strain it would put on your family, and just where you're at in your station in life, you decided not to pursue that. So years later, here we are. You pray a simple prayer in your basement. God, this is yours. And unless you're in it, I don't want it. Looking back, just how did the Lord have to break down your personal ambition from your 20s, prepare you to lead a kingdom-minded community asset like you have today in Skate, Ohio?
The journey, man. You always think about like, dude, the greatest gift is the journey, and you don't think about it at the time, especially in your 20s and stuff. So, married young, got married at 20, and just had this passion. I met some friends through school. I went to school for carpentry, and I did all these other things like in that field. Fell in love with building like right away. Loved building stuff. I met my good buddy Adam Shell, and he taught me how to build skate parks. And I'm just like, yeah, I want to do this forever. And like honestly, I genuinely had this thought I remember getting ready to ask my father-in-law for his blessing for me to marry his daughter. At 20, mind you, he could have said no, and it would have been like, "Yeah, you're right." But um, I remember having this thought. I'm like, okay, cool. If he says no, or I ask her and she says no, here's my plan. I'm going to travel around and follow the X Games until I get a job with them, and then I'm just going to travel around and build skate parks forever. That's my goal. Luckily, my father-in-law said yes, and then my wife said yes, and we got married. And I still felt this pull in my heart to. I'm like, man, I want to open a skate park so bad in this area, in the Mansfield area where we live. And I looked into it, and I found a building that's right next to Crossroads right now. And it was, now it's the U-Haul building. It used to be Big Lots years ago. And I had it kind of secured, locked in, and I got the insurance figured out. I got all these things figured out. And I realized, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to basically legally divorce my wife to put everything in her name that was already in my name. At this point, we had the house that I'm in, and we had cars, we had all this other stuff, a lot of the stuff that was kind of in my name, and we would have had to like legally divorce, put everything in her name, so that if this venture failed, it would not ruin us. We were trying to be financially forward mindset type thing. And it came down to the wire, and I, almost pen in hand, ready to sign all this crap. And I just felt that tug. I'm like, you can't, bro, you can't do that. What's wrong with you? And so I walked away from this dream. Like, everything went away at that point, and I was crushed. I felt like I walked away from the one dream, the dream that God put on my heart. It's gone, never to be seen again. Blah blah blah. And so from there, years pass. We
What
start to
was
have
your, and I'm
kids.
sorry to interrupt, but what was
No,
your
no, I'd love
wife's
you to interrupt.
response?
Let's go.
Yeah, what's your wife's response during that? I mean, she obviously was on board, right, at this point. I mean, you're young, but she's on board.
I think she was on board just because of that aspect of, I am a good wife. I'm on board with this, but not fully bought in. I think I had so much energy and thought process behind it, a little insight to it. I was going to build this skate park, and what I was going to do is I was going to recreate, like, to the nth degree, famous skate spots from around the world inside a local skate spot, so that people could experience San Francisco, the Pier 9 ledges. I was gonna build those, like, try to make them perfect, like exactly what they were supposed to be, so that kids in Mansfield could skate the Pier 9 ledges that are in San Francisco that they may never experience. But we had artists lined up to paint like the wall as a perfect background of the Pacific Ocean, and what the pier looked like, and do all that other stuff. But like, I'm a visionary, she is not. And so I could see this whole thing playing out in my head and everything. It was just, anyway. So yeah, from there, just kind of had to walk away from it. And I was, I always had this weight just pushing me down. Like, dude, you walked away from your dream. You're a butthead. And so years go by, we start to have children. We have 3 boys, and we start having children in 2010. And at that point, I don't get to skate as much as I used to. It kind of came down to that my birthday is in winter months, and then Father's Day. I would every time it's like my birthday, she's like, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go skate. That's all I want to do." And on Father's Day, I'm just like, "I'm gonna go skate." So I would go do those things, and that was just for years and years and years, as my children grew. And I still just had this passion, right? And didn't know what to do with it. But I started, I had a podcast. As you can tell, I have some semi-professional setups here, that we did a podcast called Teach a Dummy for a while, where we just learned about stupid things and wanted to encourage, other people, just, yeah, we're idiots and we're learning stuff. We did that. And then I had a friend, the guy who does the Skate Ohio with me, my vice president, Adam McElroy, he and I got to meet because he had a podcast as well. And my co-host Tim would like knew of this podcast. He's like, we have a chance to go on this podcast. I'm like, whatever, dude, let's go. And I met him, and the first time I saw him, he had like a pair of skate shoes, and I'm like, bro, you skate? And he's like, yeah, skate. You skate? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, did we just become best friends? And but anyway, we began a relationship, just kind of chatting about things. And the more we talked about this stuff, it was just like he and we were just always texting each other. It's like, oh man, did you see what Nigel just did? This was amazing. These little things, and we just became like, oh man, I feel led to do something skateboarding. And he's like, well, we each have a podcast. What if we do a podcast about skateboarding? I'm like, cool. Or what are we gonna do? And it kind of came down to a point where we discussed we need to do let's talk about the local scene. We started kind of canvassing the area. Wow, there's still a lot of skateboarders in this area. What do they need? And we need to repair skate parks. We need to do these things. So okay, let's rally the troops. And we had this kind of big discussion where like he's a non-believer. I'm a believer. And we had kind of a big discussion one night. I'll never forget it. And we were just talking. And I'm like, dude, I can't be a part of this if we're not like family focused and we're trying to include everybody. And he's kind of like on that other edge of like, that's not the skate culture. I want to be culture. And I'm like, I want this to be for everybody. I want to teach them all about all of this stuff. And we went back and forth, and he finally is like, you know what? I think you're right. We need to go at it this way. So we kind of started the journey. And a big part of that, I'll never forget. I was sitting like I'm pointing this way. I was sitting right over there. I've completely rebuilt the podcast room and everything in the basement here. And right over there at that time, I just had an area, and I just kind of set some skateboarding stuff up really quick, and we were recording, and we did this kind of intro to what we're trying to do. After he left, I was sitting there, and I just said, Lord Jesus, I am 100% committed to whatever this is, but I will not step through any door you don't open. But the doors that you do open, I will proudly walk through, and I will speak your name in them. And I just left it at that. I didn't know what else to do. And from there, it just kind of it was a slow start. And there was so many no's because skateboarding has this negative connotation that people don't understand it. And then we just started like, I don't know what to do. Let's start a GoFundMe or something, and let's get some boards and give them away. And we do just these little things time after time. We're just starting to build these things. We have a friend, Caleb Burns, who really propelled us forward. He's just like, I tried to set us up as a nonprofit multiple times, but I cannot sit in front of a computer for very long. I will flip the computer over and stomp on it multiple times. I just can't do it. I have a real problem with it. I'll never forget. I was at Crossroads Waterford campus. I was like completely remodeling the whole place. I'm there tearing out the stage and pulling the carpet and stuff. And I get a text, and he's just like, okay, what do you want to be called? I'm like, I don't know, Skate Mansfield. That's who we are. He's like, nah, man, you're thinking too small. You're Skate Ohio. And I'm like, Skate Ohio? I don't know if that's gonna be right. He's like, cool. But here's your EIN. I'm like, what? And he's like, okay, you're this. Here's your articles of incorporation. I'm like, what is happening? And like, I remember just like taking a break from pulling carpet, and it like kind of launched this. Like, when you say you're a nonprofit dedicated to propelling skateboarding forward by giving kids, empowering children through something, especially something that keeps them off their phones. The older generations love to hear that. And that is what we're doing. So we're giving them boards, we're getting them outside, we're getting them to do things. When you say you're a nonprofit, it really takes you to this next level that people really start paying attention, that you didn't realize before when you were begging your friends and everything for money to be able to do the thing that you love. But when you say you're a nonprofit and you have these goals, it becomes this next level thing. So we're kind of on that journey, and in the middle of it now. We're 3 years in, and we are just exploding. I've started to having to say no to opportunities just because there's two of us that do this. and we're exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, praise God. I mean, it's amazing, and in this
For
area,
sure.
all areas need kids to be engaged in their community, right?
Mhm.
Whatever community is, whether it's skating, and I think skating is one of those unique sports. I don't know much about it, but I know one thing is that there is a connectedness, a unifying factor that comes with skating that maybe other sports, it's a little bit about starting non-starters. There can be some divisive things. And what I love about this is what an opportunity for everyone to get involved, um, and intermix, right? And mingle with both older
Like,
and younger,
just what you
experience and
said there.
non-experience.
I can take anybody at any age. Now I'm talking anywhere from you're standing up, you're 4, you're 5, upwards to 75, 80 years old. I'm telling you, I can get you on a skateboard and get you comfortable to a degree of doing whatever it is you want to do. You want to just roll around? Praise God. Let's just roll around. I am 41 now, and I do not do what I used to do. I have to be very careful because my brain's like, dude, you can do this, and I'm like, the body's like, no. I have many a scar that tells me I shouldn't, and my wife would tell me I would. But anyway, I have talked to multiple kids, and let me give you this. This is the greatest thing that Adam and I talk about. Adam's my vice president, that we talk about all the time. With this last this last February through April, we do our winter sessions from February to April because Ohio weather sucks, and you really don't get to spring until mid April. And so we offer free nights to just come and skate inside. It's warm. Come skate. Let's have some fellowship. Let's do all this. We took 11 kids from never standing on a skateboard to dropping in on a half pipe. And the process of that, of how they have to conquer something that they didn't think they've never stepped on a board. They never, when they showed up, they never thought they could do this ever. And now they're dropping in. The you could see the change on their face when you're not holding them and they actually drop in by themselves for the first time and the place erupts. It's so amazing. And the best part is the next week when they come back and they just explode through that door to go back and keep doing stuff. The parents who pull you aside and they're like, this child is different now. This child has confidence that we've never seen before. This child has friends. We had somebody who told us that their child hadn't smiled in months. And then, like, now that they can't stop smiling because they have this confidence and they have these friends. And that is every time Adam and I just look at this. Yep, that's why we do this. No, no, all the no's we get for all the stuff we try to do, and people are just like, "Yeah, you're crazy. You ain't doing that." Uh, One of those kids, if I had one of those kids this entire 3 years, makes it 100% worth it.
It's awesome. It's also, I think, a testament to the way that you lead. And I know you had 20 years, right? You and I talked about in high level retail management, district manager, area management, in that style. You had mentioned a book, Leading from the Middle, Craig Groeschel. How do you take all those lessons you learned from retail and how are you using them now? Because I'd imagine that in some ways there's some overlap, right? The people skills and things that you have. And then in other ways it's completely different being on the nonprofit side of it.
100%. I'll try to be a very brief background of my work history. I was not a scholar. I barely got through high school. All I knew is I wanted to get out and I wanted to make money. I wanted to work. I did not want to be in school anymore. It was not my passion. I did go to school for carpentry, so I had some training in that field. So I did some construction. I ended up working for a local hardware store. Um, got in there and just became kind of natural. I love customers. I love making those relationships and things. Even as a kid, that was like 18, 19 at that time. But I was just very natural. I grew up like my actual job history. My father works for a local franchisee for 54 years at this point. And so I was able to start working at like 13 years old, and I did lobby at local McDonald's for a number of years, worked up, did cashier, did grill, did all that stuff. So I had this this natural. I grew up in it, so it made sense. But started working at the hardware store, got to learn customer service, loved all my account people. I loved working there. I loved learning inventory and all that stuff. Just decided to leave that to go back to like building houses and doing that stuff. So I did that for a while, and then I left there, went back to like McDonald's. I managed for 5 years, something like that. I was a manager at a highway store, McDonald's, where I got this like in the trenches training of I had so many kids from so many different school districts where you had some affluent kids, you had some kids who were farm kids, and you had some kids who were from like inner city, and you had to manage them all differently. And I had to learn that because you had 20 some kids on your shift on a Friday night, and you had to be able to speak to them and manage them in such a way. And that was really the trial by fire to learn how to communicate in that. I had kids, Zach, I had these kids that I will never forget this. I loved these kids so much, but you had some kids who didn't want to go home. And, in that business, anybody out there who ever had to manage like food retail and stuff, the food service industry where you had to watch your labor rate and you had to keep cutting labor to send people home to make your hours and stuff. I had kids who were just like, "Please don't send me home," and I started developing this plan that we would remove the condiment carts out from under the counters and hide them. So I'm like, "Listen, you can stay. I have to have you clock out, but you can stay. And you can sit under the counter, but you have to do your homework." And they're like, "Please, thank you." And I would teach kids how to do their homework while they sat under the counter while I'm taking care of customers. And
Yeah.
this
Wow.
wild, but again, it was just something that was a development thing. Like God knew, like you have to go through this if you're going to do these things later. You have to go through this. So from there, I left. I was a manager at Tractor Supply. I became a traveling manager for Tractor Supply. I was the guy who went to different Tractor Supplies who were on the managers were on vacation, so I'd go run their store for them, and I learned so much in that. Left that, went back to the hardware store when somebody had left and planning to take it over. The owner at the time, he knew I came back to take it over with another guy, and he sold the business out from under us without telling us. That was just a big character development moment where you had to like battle through this thing. It was a very tragic part of my life because you see yourself going this way and then the life takes you this way type thing. And so I ended up working for that company that took over for a long time, became a district manager. I had 28 stores all around Ohio. I was traveling 80, 90 hours a week from all the way south Ohio and Pike County, Cincinnati area, all the way up to Cleveland. And yeah, it was just another trial by fire thing. I had to take care of all these stores and left that, did a couple other things, and ended up like it just happened that somebody was retiring at Crossroads, and they'd been trying to get me there for years, like just to ask me like you need to come work here. I'm like, y'all can't afford me. I don't know. Ended up talking to my wife, and I'm like, they keep wanting me to go there. I don't know. I have this tug on my heart. I don't know what to do. She's like, just hear them out. And I'm like, all right, fine. So Doug Taylor, I call him. I'm like, dude, I'm fine. Let's meet. I'll listen. And we go on a Wednesday night. It was actually I talked to Jesse prior to coming there. I just say, man, I got this tug on my heart that I got to do something with skateboarding, man. He's like, we do these things on Wednesday nights. You could do something skateboarding. I'm like, cool. I had like 5 kids that came. I taught them things, and 1 to 2 of the kids still come to Skate Ohio stuff to this day. It was amazing, but it was just I finally like Doug sat me down and told me about it. I went back and told my wife. She's like, we could probably make that work, but I had to take like a $13,000 a year pay cut to step into a role that, I don't know. But again, I stepped into that role and a lot of things went on and it was just like I was built for it. Like people were like panicking and I'm like, y'all don't know panic. Like this can all be taken care of. So we got to it was just one of those things that like God like put me in that fire for so long. He's like, yeah, this is terrible. This is terrible. Just wait, just wait. It's coming. It's coming. Finally get to Crossroads and it's just like, man, this weight that gets lifted. and it just opens doors for ministry in other ways, which open doors for ministry through skateboarding. I got to start doing more skateboarding stuff and then start doing ministry through skateboarding, and Skate Ohio happened and all those things. So yeah, that's like kind of the full story of like how I got to where we're doing what we're doing now.
Man, that is just amazing. I Hearing those stories never get old because in our ambition and just ego-ridden lives, a lot of times our disappointments and frustrations always turn out to be an amazing stepping stone for what God has us, right? And I think I don't know how you explain that to someone that hasn't experienced because it just sounds weird, right? To be like, look, the only way I get close to it is you have to trust God has this beautiful tapestry, but you can't see it all. You're only going to see your little string. But trust me, even if things don't work out, it'll be amazing in
I
the end.
had that kind of thought or realization. I had the opportunity. I got gifted um, a trip to the footsteps of Paul when we got to go to Greece,
Yeah.
Turkey, and Italy. I have absolutely no way to pay for that. We live very much like there's the threshold. We live right here all the time, so that I can keep doing what I do and all those things. But I got gifted a trip to go do these things, and one of the things that we did see is we got to go to the Vatican, and you see the tapestries that took decades to make, and they're huge and they're beautiful. And I can't imagine the people who had to, like, we got to see in Turkey how they do that, how they thread and cut and thread and cut and thread and cut, and it's just a constant thing that takes literal decades to complete. And you see these beautiful things, and it's like you almost don't have enough time. Like if I was there 2 days straight just staring at that one tapestry, I would never comprehend the beginning to end of what one of those tapestries look like.
It yeah. I mean, and, so then you find yourself in this reflection moment where it's like, "Thank God you didn't get the building." Right? I mean, that's it. That's it. It's you don't ever see it in the moment, but you look back now and go, That's it." Right. Yeah. So cool. So let's finish with this. Give me all the promos for Skate Ohio. What's next? What's upcoming? What could people get excited about? Yeah. So how do people get involved with Skate Ohio? Either by skating, right, or engaging or talking to you about the outreach you're doing with it.
Absolutely. So you can reach out to us. Info at skateohio.com is an email that both Adam and I get, and we check every minute just to make sure if anything's going on, we respond very quickly. If you're a business, you can donate to make sure that we can get boards to give to kids. We have an opportunity. It's about like between $600 and $800. I can get 20 skateboards made with your brand, with your company on it. We've done this a couple times, and it's been such a success because we give these boards away. We have big, silly events where we go and hide them all over Richland County and tell kids, go get them. And within an hour, they're all found. And kids are like, I got one. This is amazing. And then we just put boards together. You can't really see, but behind me, right behind that fridge there, I got a bunch of stuff to put skateboards together. I need somebody to donate money or decks, the board itself, to be able to put these things together to go give. I gave a board away to a kid today. He came to an event of ours and he like tried a board and he kind of liked it. And his dad sheepishly like reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, my kid really likes this. I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "Bro, I got a board for him. Encourage him to do it and get him out there, and I'll give you the board, and if he wants to buy a board down the road, there's places around that you can, but right now let's get him on a board and make sure he loves it and then push him in that way." So yeah, anybody who wants to donate to us, we have Cash App, we have Venmo, but we have like opportunities, advertising opportunities that you get seen by. I don't know. Most of our posts go between 2,000 and 11,000 views. We would love to help you advertise. We would love to do this. We put you on boards. We would love to just figure out different creative ways to shout out your business as with you supporting skateboarding. There's just so many ways to do it. So we want those things. The info at Skate Ohio. If you follow us on, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we're on all those things and we try to monitor those things. But we can push your business through our people, like we're all the views that we get. We would love to push your business through, and you can just donate to us. You get a donation receipt for your taxes, and then you get advertising. It's like kind of like the best partnership of advertising there can be because it's a win-win, which is what we're always going for. Is like Adam and I both have that business background. It's like we were always looking for that win-win. What does that look like? And it's like, well, let's advertise for you and you give to us so that skateboarding can happen.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to put all of that in the show notes. BJ, I loved our time together. I love your heart and your passion around it, and what you're doing, and what an amazing gift it is to the Mansfield area and to Ohio in general as you execute, you and Adam go after that. Love it. And for our listeners, till next time, keep living a life of faith, building up your friends, and embracing the journey. God bless.